In the heart of Chicago, under a crisp autumn sky in 2012, Emily Thompson's life felt like a scene from a Hollywood rom-com. At 28, she was a spirited Midwesterner, hustling through freelance marketing gigs with dreams of her agency. Then came Alex Carter, 30, a charming finance, with a smile that could melt Lake Michigan's ice. Their meet cute? A spilled latte at a bustling coffee shop in Lincoln Park, his laughter turning her embarrassment into fate. This called for dinner, Alex teased, sparking a whirlwind romance. By 2013, they were married in a Napa Valley vineyard, toasting to forever amid California's sunsets. Their Oak Park home, with its white picket fence, hosted barbecues and Bears watch parties, the epitome of the American dream. Emily poured her heart into their life, cooking apple pies, planning road trips to Wisconsin dells, while Alex climbed the corporate ladder. They were the couple everyone envied, their love a beacon of hope. But beneath the Instagram-perfect moments, shadows loomed. Little did Emily know, months of betrayal were brewing, setting the stage for her silent revenge and one unforgettable day of justice. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to spread the meaningful lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment 1. If you don't like it, please comment 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. It was a crisp fall day in Chicago back in 2012, the kind where the leaves crunch under your boots and the air smells like fresh coffee and possibility. I was Emily Thompson, 28 years old, a go-getter from small-town Ohio who'd moved to the Windy City chasing the American dream. I just quit my steady marketing job at a downtown firm to freelance, hustling from coffee shops with my laptop, dreaming of launching my digital agency. Life felt electric, full of that Midwestern grit. Work hard, play fair, and good things will come. That's when Alex Carter walked into my world, or rather, I spilled into his. He was 30, a sharp finance guy with that all-American charm. Tall, broad-shouldered from weekend hikes, and a grin that could light up Wrigley Field. We met at a bustling spot in Lincoln Park, me juggling my latte and notebooks, him in a crisp button-down heading to a meeting. Boom! Hot coffee all over his shirt. I apologized profusely, cheeks burning, but Alex just laughed it off. Hey, no harm done. Fate's got a funny way of introducing people. How about dinner to make up for it? His Texas drawl mixed with Chicago confidence sealed the deal. That night at a cozy Italian joint in Loop, we talked for hours about our ambitions, family barbecues back home, and how we both loved catching Cubs games on sunny afternoons. From there, it was a whirlwind, straight out of one of those feel-good movies where love conquers all. We dated through the holidays, sharing hot cocoa at Chris Kindle Market, ice skating at Millennium Park under twinkling lights. By summer 2013, Alex proposed on the 4th of July at Navy Pier, fireworks exploding over Lake Michigan like our hearts. "Emily, you're my home run," he said, slipping a diamond ring on my finger. We got hitched the next spring in Napa Valley, surrounded by rolling vineyards and toast with Cabernet. My folks flew in from Ohio, his from Dallas, everyone beaming about our bright future. We settled into a charming 3-bedroom in Oak Park, the suburbs where Hemingway grew up, white picket fence, backyard grill for those endless summer cookouts. I'd whip up apple pies from my grandma's recipe, while Alex manned the burgers, cold beers in hand, as friends gathered for Bear Sundays. Work was booming. Alex was climbing the ladder at his investment firm, pulling 6 figures with bonuses that let us splurge on road trips to Wisconsin dells or cozy cabins in Michigan. I built my consultancy from our home office, landing clients with clever campaigns, feeling like we cracked the code to happiness. Our days were pure bliss. Morning jog along the lakefront trail, lazy evenings binge-watching Netflix with deep dish pizza from Giordano's. We talked about kids someday, maybe a golden retriever named Buddy, to chase frisbees in the yard. Alex was my rock, always with a pep talk. "Babe, we're unstoppable together." I believed it, heart and soul. Growing up in the heartland, I'd seen my parents weather tough times, factory layoffs, long winters, but they stuck it out with love and loyalty. That's what I wanted, what we had. Or so I thought. Little did I know, beneath those picture-perfect moments, Instagram posts of us at jazz clubs or hiking Starved Rock, cracks were forming. But back then, in those golden years, betrayal was the farthest thing from my mind. Life was about building, dreaming, and loving without reservation, until the shadows crept in, turning months of trust into a battlefield. And that's when my silent revenge began to brew. By the fall of 2017, 5 years into our marriage, the golden glow of our Chicago life started to dim, like the sun dipping low over Lake Michigan. I was Emily Thompson, 33 now, still hustling with my digital marketing consultancy, landing clients from startups to Midwest retail chains. Our Oak Park home was still the envy of our friends, white picket fence, a Weber grill on the patio, but something felt off. Alex Carter, my all-American husband, was changing. The man who once planned surprise picnics at Grant Park was now a stranger, swallowed by his high-flying job at a downtown investment firm. "It's just a big merger, Em," he'd say, flashing that same charming grin that won me over in 2012. "Gotta put in the hours." I nodded, supportive as ever, because that's what you do in America. Cheer on ambition, believe in the grind. But the late nights piled up like unpaid bills. Alex would roll in past 10 p.m., tie loosened, eyes avoiding mine. "Meetings ran over," he'd mutter, grabbing a craft beer from the fridge before disappearing into his office. At first, I bought it. Chicago's corporate world is brutal. 80-hour weeks, schmoozing clients at steakhouses like Gibson's. Workaholic culture was practically a badge of honor. But then I noticed the scent. Not his usual cedarwood cologne, but something floral, sweet, like vanilla and jasmine, clinging to his suit jacket. I'd hang it in the closet, heart sinking, telling myself it was probably from a crowded elevator. Still, doubt crept in, a nagging whisper that kept me up while the ceiling fan spun endlessly above our king-size bed. Then came the phone. Alex's iPhone, always buzzing, always face down on the counter. One night, as we ate takeout tacos from Big Star in Wicker Park, it lit up with a text. "Sarah from accounts." Just a name, no context, but it hit like a punch. "Work stuff," he said when I raised an eyebrow, shoveling guacamole like nothing was wrong. But the text didn't stop. 11 p.m., 2 a.m., random pings while he showered. I'd stare at that glowing screen, fingers itching to unlock it, but I didn't. Not yet. Growing up in Ohio, I was raised on trust and loyalty. My parents' 40-year marriage was proof that love could endure. I wasn't about to become the paranoid wife from some reality show on Bravo. Still, the signs multiplied. A faint lipstick smudge on his collar one laundry day. "Coral, not my shade." "Must have been a client hug," he shrugged, but his eyes darted away. I started losing sleep, my mind replaying every odd moment. Was I crazy? America's obsessed with self-help, so I turned to the Gospel of Barnes and Noble. I devoured the 5 love languages and Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, highlighting passages about communication and trust. I planned date nights to reignite the spark. Tickets to a Cubs game at Wrigley Field, where we'd once cheered over hot dogs, dinner at Alinea, splurging $300 on a tasting menu. Alex played along, holding my hand, laughing at my jokes, but his smiles felt rehearsed, like he was reading a script. The pressure wasn't just on us. Money was tight despite Alex's 6-figure salary. Our mortgage, car payments, and my business startup costs ate into our savings. We'd always dreamed a Hawaii vacation or a bigger house for the kid we planned, but now every dollar was accounted for. That's the American way, right? Work hard, spend big, keep up with the Joneses. I wondered if Alex's late nights were about proving himself, chasing that next promotion to keep us afloat. I wrote him notes, tucked into his lunch. "You've got this, babe." But deep down, I felt it. Trust issues, that slow poison eroding what we'd built. I joined a book club in Evanston, hoping to distract myself. Over wine and dog-eared paperbacks, I'd hear women, moms, lawyers, teachers, whisper about their suspicions. Husbands glued to phones. Unexplained receipts. It was like we were all living parallel lives, caught in the tension between expectation and reality. Marriage in America is sold as happily ever after, but nobody talks about the cracks. I wasn't ready to confront Alex yet, but the doubts were piling up heavier than the snow blanketing our driveway that winter. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a seed of revenge began to take root. Not loud, not yet, but quiet, waiting. Winter hit Chicago like a freight train in January 2018, blanketing Oak Park in snow so thick it muffled the world. I was Emily Thompson, 33, still clinging to the fraying threads of my marriage to Alex Carter, the man I thought I'd grow old with. The cracks in our life, his late nights, that floral perfume, had me on edge, but I wasn't ready for the truth to crash through like a wrecking ball. It started with a mundane task: cleaning out Alex's BMW after a grocery run to Whole Foods. Tucked in the glove compartment under a pile of gas station receipts, I found it, a crumpled slip from the Palmer House, that swanky downtown hotel with chandeliers and old money vibes. The date? Our 5th anniversary weekend, when Alex claimed he was in New York for a last-minute client meeting. Room service for 2, a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, for $150 charged to our joint card. My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step on a staircase. I sat in the driver's seat, snow piling on the windshield, clutching that receipt until my knuckles whitened. My heart screamed he wouldn't, but my head knew better. Back home, I waited until Alex got in from another late meeting, his tie loose, that same vanilla scent trailing him. Over cold Chinese takeout, General Tso's from Panda Express, I slid the receipt across the kitchen island. Care to explain this? My voice shook, betraying the calm I tried to fake. Alex's face froze, then crumpled. It was nothing, he stammered, eyes darting like a trapped animal. A mistake. Sarah from work. She needed to talk. It got late. We grabbed a room to crash. A mistake? Champagne and breakfast in bed weren't a mistake. I pressed harder, tears burning. Who is she, Alex? Tell me the truth. He broke, sobbing. Swear it was a one-time thing. That Sarah meant nothing. I love you, Em. Let's fix this. His tears looked real, but I'd grown up in Ohio, where promises were ironclad and it felt like smoke. That night, while he slept, I grabbed his phone. No passcode, typical Alex arrogance. Text from Sarah A. lit up the screen. Miss you already, with a heart emoji, sent the night of our anniversary. Another. When can we sneak away again? My hands trembled as I scrolled, each message a dagger. I didn't stop there. America's obsession with social media made it easy. Sarah Andrews' Instagram was public, a curated shrine to her life as a 25-year-old assistant at Alex's firm. Yoga poses in Lululemon, avocado toast brunches at the Alice, captions about living my truth. There she was, in a selfie at a rooftop bar in the Loop, Alex's arm barely cropped out, his watch glinting, the one I'd given him for his 30th birthday. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a middle-class fantasy gone wrong. We'd built an ambitious life, 6-figure salaries, a mortgage for our dream home, plans for a future that screamed success. Sarah's post screamed something else, a carefree, glamorous escape from our responsibilities. Trips to Lake Geneva, cocktails at Cindy's, all while I was home balancing client calls and utility bills. The kicker? Charges on our credit card for her Nordstrom purchases, lingerie, perfume, labeled as office expenses. My blood boiled. This wasn't just infidelity. It was a mockery of everything we'd worked for. I confronted Alex again the next morning, coffee cold in my mug. It's over, isn't it? I said, voice steady now. He begged, promised therapy, swore Sarah was gone. But his words were hollow, like a used car salesman's pitch. I agreed to counseling, not because I believed him, but because I needed time to process, to plan. America loves a comeback story, and I was starting to write mine. In that moment, staring at my husband's tear-streaked face, I didn't want screams or fights. I wanted justice, cold and calculated. The seeds of my silent revenge were planted right there in our kitchen, under the hum of a Chicago winter. The winter of 2018 bled into spring. But for me, Emily Thompson, time felt like a fog rolling off Lake Michigan, thick and disorienting. At 33, I was a shadow of the woman who'd built a life with Alex Carter in our Oak Park home, where the white picket fence now mocked me. The truth about his affair with Sarah, confirmed by that damning hotel receipt and flirty text, hung over me like Chicago's grayest skies. I couldn't sleep. The hum of our bedroom ceiling fan a cruel reminder of nights spent staring into dark, replaying every lie. My appetite vanished. I'd push around my morning oatmeal or skip lunch altogether, my jeans sagging where curves used to be. I'd lost 10 pounds by April. My reflection in the bathroom mirror a stranger with hollow cheeks and dark circles. Friends noticed, texting, "You okay, Em?" Over group chats filled with emojis. I'd reply with a thumbs up, too ashamed to admit my world was crumbling. In America, we're taught to keep it together. Smile through the pain, post happy selfies, but inside, I was drowning. Work, once my pride, took a hit. My digital marketing consultancy, built from late nights and big dreams, started slipping. I missed deadlines for a retail chain campaign, fumbled a pitch to a startup in River North. Clients emailed, "This isn't like you, Emily." I'd stare at my laptop, unable to focus, my mind hijacked by images of Alex and Sarah at some swanky loop bar. I'd check her Instagram obsessively, each post, her sipping rose at a rooftop happy hour, caption, "Chasing vibes, a fresh cut." Mental health stigma runs deep in the Midwest. You don't just admit you're falling apart. My parents, married 40 years in Ohio, would have said, "Buck up, kid." But buckling up wasn't working. I felt like a failure, not just as a wife, but as a driven woman who'd once juggled client calls and Sunday potlucks of ease. Desperate for an anchor, I found support group in Naperville, a 30-minute drive from Oak Park through suburban sprawl. It met in a church basement, the kind with fluorescent lights and folding chairs arranged in a circle. The flyer called it Healing Hearts for spouses of infidelity, and I hesitated, feeling like I was signing up for a club no one wants to join. But that first Tuesday night, stepping into the room smelling of stale coffee and hope, changed everything. There were 8 of us, men and women, 30s to 50s, from South Side nurses to North Shore lawyers. Each story echoed mine, lies, late nights, trust shattered. A woman named Karen, a 45-year-old teacher with tired eyes, shared how her husband's affair left her questioning her worth. "I thought I was alone," she said, voice cracking. I nodded, tears spilling, realizing I wasn't. Those meetings became my lifeline. Every week, I'd drive down I-88 past strip malls and soccer fields to sit with strangers who felt like family. We'd share stories over donuts from Dunkin', laughing bitterly about lipstick stains or secret credit card charges. The group's leader, a counselor named Diane, preached resilience, America's favorite virtue. "You're not defined by their betrayal," she'd say, her voice firm but kind. "You rebuild brick by brick." I clung to that, scribbling in a journal I kept hidden from Alex. He thought we were working through it, attending couples therapy in a stuffy Michigan Avenue office. But I was just biding time, nodding through his hollow apologies. The group taught me I wasn't crazy for feeling broken. In America, we hide mental health struggles behind Pinterest boards and gym selfies. But there, in that basement, we were raw. A guy named Tom, a burly mechanic from Aurora, admitted he cried in his truck after finding his wife's emails to a coworker. "Didn't think real men cried," he said. I shared my shame, how I check Alex's phone at 3 a.m., how I blame myself for not being enough. The group listened, no judgment, just nods and tissues pass around. It was community, the kind Americans seek in churches, book clubs, or AA meetings. People banding together survive. By May, the fog hadn't lifted, but I was starting to see through it. Karen's words stuck with me. "Revenge isn't always loud, Emily. Sometimes it's just living better than they ever will." I wasn't ready to leave Alex yet. Divorce felt too final, too much like giving up, but I started small acts of defiance. I signed up for a 5K, pounding the pavement along the lakefront trail, reclaiming my strength. I read Eat, Pray, Love, dog-earing pages about self-discovery. The support group gave me the courage to face the pain, to stop hiding behind Midwestern stoicism. My silent revenge was brewing, not in screams or fights, but in the quiet resolve to take back my life. Chicago's spring bloomed outside, but inside me, a fiercer season was waking. By the summer of 2018, the fog of betrayal that had smothered me for months began to lift, replaced by a spark, sharp, hot, and undeniable. I was Emily Thompson, 33, still living in our Oak Park home with Alex Carter, the husband whose lies had carved holes in my heart. The hotel receipt, the text from Sarah, the lipstick stains, they weren't just wounds anymore. They were fuel. I'd spent too many nights crying in the shower, letting the water drown my sobs. Too many days faking smiles for clients. But in that Chicago summer, with cicadas humming and the city pulsing with life, something shifted. I wasn't just a betrayed wife. I was an American woman, raised on stories of underdogs who rise from the ashes. Think Rocky Balboa, punching his way to glory. I decided it was time to fight, not with screams or scenes, but with a silent, calculated revenge that would leave Alex regretting every lie. My first move was practical, almost clinical. I hired a private investigator, Mike, a grizzled ex-cop from a firm in the loop with a handshake, like a vice and a no-nonsense vibe. Over coffee at a dive bar on Wabash, I handed him the Palmer House receipt and a list of dates Alex had been working late. "I want proof," I said, voice steady despite the knot in my gut. Mike nodded, promising discretion. "Give me 2 weeks, Mrs. Carter." I winced at the name, but let it slide. America loves its justice, and I was building my case like a prosecutor. Mike delivered in spades. Photos of Alex and Sarah at a cozy Lincoln Park bistro, hands intertwined over candlelight, receipts from hotel bars in River North, even a grainy shot of them kissing outside a Lake Michigan cabin. Each image was a gut punch, but also a brick in the wall I was building. I stored them in a locked folder on my laptop, labeled Taxes, my secret arsenal. While Mike worked, I rebuilt myself. I joined a gym in Evanston, not one of those trendy CrossFit spots, but a gritty place with clanging weights and mirrors fogged with sweat. Running on the treadmill, blasting Taylor Swift's breakup anthems to my earbuds, I felt my strength return. I'd always been a nice Midwestern girl, apologizing when someone cut me off in traffic, but now I was channeling something fiercer. I dropped another 5 pounds, not from starvation, but from deadlifts and determination. My jeans fit better, my confidence sharper. America worships the comeback, and I was scripting mine. I also threw myself into learning. I signed up for online courses through Coursera, advanced digital marketing, SEO, and even a crash course in finance to understand Alex's shady bank statements. Knowledge was power, and I was done being the naive wife. My consultancy, which had been limping along, roared back. I landed a 6-figure contract with a Midwest retail chain, working late nights in my home office while Alex thought I was forgiving him in therapy. Every email I sent, every campaign I nailed, felt like a middle finger to his betrayal. Then came the blog. I started it anonymously, calling it Midwest Heartbreak Chronicles, a nod to my roots and my pain. I poured out veiled versions of my story, late-night suspicions, the sting of infidelity. On a WordPress site, I built an hour. To my shock, it took off. Redditor / relationships picked it up, and soon I had 5,000 followers, mostly women like me, 30s and 40s, cheering my resilience. "You're my hero," one commenter wrote. "Leave him and thrive." The blog wasn't just catharsis. It was rebellion. I monetized it with ads, earning a few $100 a month, my secret stash. In America, women's independence is a badge of honor, and I was earning mine, post by post. Alex had no clue. He'd come home, kiss my forehead, and ramble about his merger, oblivious to the storm brewing. Our couples therapy sessions were a farce. I nodded to his promises while mentally cataloging Mike's evidence. I wasn't ready to leave yet. I needed more ammo. But every squat at the gym, every late-night course, every blog post was a step toward freedom. My support group in Naperville cheered me on, their stories of survival fueling my fire. Karen, the teacher, said, "You're not just surviving, Emily. You're building an empire." She was right. This wasn't about screaming or slashing tires. It was about outsmarting Alex, reclaiming my life on my terms. The spark of revenge had ignited, and I was ready to burn bright, silent but unstoppable, in true American underdog style. The summer of 2018 had been a slow burn, But by August, the spark of revenge in me, Emily Thompson, was ready to ignite. At 33, I'd spent months piecing together Alex Carter's betrayal. Hotel receipts, incriminating texts, private investigator photos of him with Sarah, his assistant, in every corner of Chicago, from Lincoln Park bistros to Lake Michigan getaways. I was no longer the naive Midwestern girl who believed in forever. I was a woman on a mission, fueled by the American obsession with justice and the quiet strength of a comeback. Our Oak Park home, once a symbol of our shared dreams, felt like a stage for a drama I hadn't signed up for. But nothing prepared me for the moment it all came crashing down. The breaking point that would set my silent revenge in motion. It was a sweltering Tuesday, the kind where Chicago's humidity clings like a bad memory. I'd cut short a client meeting in Milwaukee, driving back early along I-94, eager for a quiet night with a glass of Pinot Grigio and my blog, Midwest Heartbreak Chronicles. Pulling into our driveway, I froze. A sleek red Audi sat there. Sarah's car, unmistakable from the PI's photos, parked boldly like she owned the place. My heart pounded, a drumbeat of dread and fury. I grabbed my phone, hands trembling, and crept to the front door. The house was quiet except for muffled laughter from upstairs, our bedroom. Each step up the staircase felt like climbing a gallows. Through the half-open door, I saw them, Alex and Sarah, tangled in sheets I'd washed 100 times, oblivious of the world. The air smelled of her vanilla perfume, a scent I'd come to hate. I didn't scream or barge in. That wasn't me. Growing up in Ohio, I'd learned to keep my cool, to plan before acting. My silent strength kicked in, cold and calculated. I snapped photos from the doorway, time-stamped evidence of their betrayal, Alex's wedding band glinting on the nightstand. Each click of my iPhone felt like loading a bullet. I slipped out, heart shattering but mind clear, and drove to a Marriott in the Loop. Sitting in the sterile hotel room, I texted Alex, "I know everything." No reply needed. The silence was my weapon. I called Lisa, my divorce attorney, a powerhouse in a pantsuit I'd found through a friend. "File the papers," I said, voice steady. "I'm done." Lisa was all business, a true product of America's legal culture, where divorce is as much a strategy as a heartbreak. "We'll hit him hard," she said over the phone, her office overlooking Michigan Avenue. "Illinois may be no fault, but infidelity can sway asset division. You got the evidence, use it." I sent her the photos, along with Mike's PI reports, hotel bills, restaurant receipts, even bank statements showing Alex funneling bonuses into a secret account. Lisa mapped out a plan, alimony the house, and half his 401k. "You're not just leaving, Emily," she said. "You're winning." Female empowerment in divorce is a cornerstone of American culture, especially for women in their 30s and 40s. And I was ready to claim my share. Back at the hotel, I packed my life into a suitcase, clothes, laptop, and my journal from the Naperville support group. I didn't cry, I planned. America loves a woman who rises. And I was channeling every Lifetime movie heroine who'd ever walked away stronger. I rented a small apartment in the city, a sleek spot near the lake, using my blog earnings and consultancy savings. Alex called, texted, begged, "Let's talk, Em, please." But I went radio silent, letting Lisa handle communication. My revenge wasn't loud. It was deliberate, a nod to the fierce independence Midwestern women like me are raised to embody. As I stared out at Lake Michigan's waves, I felt the weight of betrayal lift, replaced by purpose. The breaking point wasn't the end. It was a star of my justice, and I was ready to see it through in that Cook County courtroom. August 2018 faded into fall, and I, Emily Thompson, was no longer the broken woman who'd wept over Alex Carter's betrayal. At 33, I'd crossed a breaking point. Catching him with Sarah in our Oak Park bedroom had shattered my heart, but sharpened my resolve. The photos I'd snapped, the private investigator's evidence, and the months of lies were now my weapons. I wasn't going to scream or throw dishes. That's not how a Midwestern girl raised on resilience plays it. My revenge would be silent, strategic, a masterclass in the American art of self-reliance. I was done being the victim in a Lifetime movie. This was my story, and I was writing the comeback, fueled by the entrepreneurial spirit that runs through every small-town Ohio kid who dreams big. First, I secure my financial independence, a cornerstone of the American dream. For my new apartment in the Loop, a sleek 800-square-foot haven with a view of Lake Michigan's waves, I met with Lisa, my divorce attorney, in her glass-walled office on Michigan Avenue. "Protect your assets now, Emily," she said, her voice crisp as a fall breeze. I opened a checking account at Bank of America, transferring $15,000 from my consultancy earnings and $2,500 from my blog's ad revenue. Alex's secret transfers to a hidden account, $20,000 siphoned for his flings with Sarah, were flagged by Lisa for the divorce filing. I applied for a Discover card, building credit in my name alone. In America, financial freedom is a woman's armor, especially when you're 33 and staring down a divorce. I wasn't just leaving Alex. I was fortifying my future, dollar by dollar. My career became my battlefield. My digital marketing consultancy, once wobbling under the weight of heartbreak, surged back. I worked 12-hour days, fueled by Starbucks cold brew and playlists of Lizzo belting about self-love. I pitched a national fitness brand, landing a $200,000 contract with a campaign that went viral on Instagram Reels. "Emily's a rock star," my client emailed, and I saved it. A reminder of my worth. I hired a second assistant, a sharp Loyola grad, to manage emails, letting me focus on strategy. Entrepreneurship is America's pulse. Think Steve Jobs in a garage or Oprah building an empire, and I was tapping it. Every late night in my apartment, crafting ad copy while Alex thought I was healing in therapy, was a quiet rebellion. I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving, outpacing his lives with my hustle. My blog, Midwest Heartbreak Chronicles, was my secret weapon. What started as a whisper of pain had grown to 15,000 followers by October, fueled by Reddit shares and women in their 30s and 40s who saw themselves in my story. I wrote about reclaiming power, veiled posts about a husband betrayal, a wife's quiet rise. "You're giving me life," a reader from Texas commented. I upgraded the site with professional logo, a Chicago skyline silhouette, and added affiliate links for workout gear and journals, pulling in $3,000 a month. The blog was more than income. It was proof I could stand alone. In America, turning pain into profit is a badge of honor, and I wore it proudly, knowing Alex was clueless about my growing empire. Emotionally, I was rewiring myself. My Naperville support group, meeting in that church basement with its stale coffee and warm hugs, kept me grounded. "You're a warrior, Emily," said Karen, the teacher who became my cheerleader. I devoured Untamed by Glennon Doyle, its call to own your story hitting hard. I started therapy, solo this time, in a cozy office in Evanston, learning to name my anger without letting it rule me. Yoga classes and no-frill studio helped. Each downward dog a release of rage. Personal growth is America's mantra, and I embraced it, journaling daily. I am enough. I stopped obsessing over Sarah's Instagram, stopped answering Alex's pleading texts. He'd call, let's fix this. But I let Lisa respond, keeping my silence. My strategy was deliberate. Every bank deposit, every client win, every blog post was a step toward freedom. Alex thought we were reconciling. I was plotting victory. America loves a self-made woman, and I was becoming one, not with drama but with discipline. As Chicago's skyline glittered outside my window, I knew the courtroom was coming, and I'd be ready, armed with evidence, independence, and a fire no one could extinguish. October 15th, 2019, dawn gray and cold in Chicago, the kind of day where the wind off Lake Michigan cuts through your coat and your resolve. I, Emily Thompson, 34 now, walked into the Cook County Courthouse with a steady heart, my heels clicking on the marble floors like a metronome of purpose. For over a year, I'd carried the weight of Alex Carter's betrayal. Hotel receipts, secret texts, photos of him with Sarah in our bed. Today was my day of justice, the culmination of my silent strategy, and I was ready to let America's legal system deliver the victory I'd earned. The courtroom, with its dark wood paneling and stern portraits, felt like the set of Hollywood drama, and I was a heroine, not the victim. In this story of revenge at my 30 to 55 year, old audience would savor. Lisa, my attorney, stood beside me, her sharp blazer and sharper mind a testament to the fierce women who navigate America's divorce culture. Across the room sat Alex, his tie crooked, his face pale under the fluorescent lights. He looked diminished, a far cry from the charming finance bro I'd met in a Lincoln Park coffee shop 7 years ago. His lawyer, a slick guy in a pinstripe suit, shuffled papers, but I could tell they were outmatched. Lisa had built an airtight case. Private investigator reports, bank statements showing Alex's hidden accounts, those damning photos from our bedroom. Illinois may be a no-fault state, but infidelity can tip the scales in asset division. And we had evidence to burn. The judge, a woman in her 50s with glasses perched on her nose, called the room to order. Lisa presented our case with precision, her voice steady as she laid out Alex's affair, dates, receipts, even Sarah's Instagram post tag at the same hotels. I watched Alex shift in his seat, eyes darting to floor, when his lawyer tried to downplay it. A lapse in judgment, Your Honor. Lisa countered with bank records showing $25,000 siphoned for business trips that were weekends with Sarah. The courtroom drama unfolded like a John Grisham novel, each piece of evidence a nail in Alex's coffin. I testified briefly, voice calm but firm, describing the pain of betrayal without tears. This wasn't about pity, it was about power. Alex took the stand, mumbling apologies, claiming he'd try to make it right. His eyes met mine, pleading, but I looked away. The man who'd promised forever at Navy Pier was gone. This was a stranger who'd gambled our lives and lost. The judge's questions were sharp, cutting through his excuses. Mr. Carter, can you explain the transfers to an undisclosed account? He couldn't. By the time Lisa rested our case, the room felt heavy with the weight of truth. The gavel fell at 11:45 a.m. Given the evidence of marital misconduct, the judge declared, Ms. Thompson is awarded 60% of the marital assets, including the Oak Park residence, and spousal support of $5,000 monthly for 3 years. Alex's shoulders slumped, his lawyer whispering furiously. I sat still, heart racing but face composed, channeling the silent strength I'd honed over months. The house, half his 401k, my financial freedom. It was mine, earned through strategy and resilience. America loves it when justice prevails. And in that moment, I felt like the underdog who'd won the championship bout. Stepping out of the courthouse into the chilly Chicago air, I breathed deeply, the weight of betrayal lifting like fog burned off by the sun. The skyline glittered, a reminder of the city where I'd rebuilt myself. Closure wasn't just a judge's ruling. It was the freedom to walk away, head high, knowing I'd outsmarted Alex's lies. My Naperville support group had warned me victory would feel bittersweet, but it didn't. It felt like triumph, pure and American, the kind you toast with a cold beer or rooftop bar. As I headed to my Loop apartment, Lake Michigan shimmering in the distance, I knew this wasn't the end. It was my new beginning, and I was ready to write the next chapter. The Chicago skyline sparkled outside my new apartment in the Loop, a 1,200 square foot haven with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. It was November 2019, and I, Emily Thompson, was 34, freshly divorced from Alex Carter, the man whose betrayal had fueled my silent revenge. The Cook County Courthouse had delivered my justice. 60% of our assets, the Oak Park house, $5,000 monthly alimony, and I walked out feeling like Rocky Balboa after a championship fight. America loves a second act, and for my 30 to 55-year-old audience who relish stories of revenge and redemption, this was mine. I wasn't just surviving. I was a comeback queen, rewriting my story with the grit and heart of a Midwestern woman who'd learned to create her happiness. I bought my new place with savings from my digital marketing consultancy and the $3,500 a month pouring in from Midwest Heartbreak Chronicles, my blog that now boasts 20,000 followers. The apartment was a fresh start, hardwood floors, a cozy nook for my desk, and a balcony where I sipped coffee at sunrise, watching ferries glide across the lake. I sold the Oak Park house, too painful with memories of Alex and Sarah, and banked the proceeds. Financial independence, that American cornerstone, felt like armor. I traded our white picket fence for a view of the John Hancock Center, and it suited me. My parents, still in Ohio, called it my big city glow-up, and I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in years. My career was on fire. My consultancy had become a powerhouse, landing a $250,000 contract with a national apparel brand. My campaigns lighting up Instagram and TikTok. I hired a third assistant, a DePaul grad with a knack for analytics, and leased a small office in River North, complete with a neon sign that read Thrive. Entrepreneurship was my rebellion. Every client win was a reminder that I didn't need Alex's six-figure salary to shine. My blog evolved, too, with guest posts from other women sharing their stories of betrayal and triumph. Readers commented, "You're our Oprah," and I leaned into it, hosting a webinar that drew 1,000 viewers, monetized with $5,000 in sponsorships. America's love for self-made success stories fueled me. I was living proof you could turn pain into profit. Dating, though, was a leap. After Alex, trust felt like a foreign language. I dipped my toes into Bumble, swiping through Chicago's 30-something singles. Craft brewers, tech bros, the occasional lawyer with a dog named Wrigley. Most dates were flops. One guy talked about his ex over tacos at Big Star. Another ghosted after a coffee meetup. But America's all about second chances, and I kept going, egged on by my Naperville support group. Karen, the teacher, said, "You're a catch. Emily, don't settle." Then, in spring 2020, I met Mark at a book club in Evanston, discussing where the crawdads sing over wine. He was 36, a high school history teacher with kind eyes and a laugh that felt like home. He didn't push. We talk about books, Bears games, and our shared love for deep dish pizza at Lou Malnati's. Mark was different. No flash, just steadiness. Our first date was a walk along the lakefront trail, sharing soft pretzels and stories about our small-town upbringings. His in Indiana, mine in Ohio. By summer, we were exclusive, spending weekends kayaking on the Chicago River or binge-watching The Office in my apartment. He proposed in 2021, under the bean in Millennium Park, a simple ring and a promise. "I'll build a life with you, Emily." We married in a small chapel in Lake Forest, just us, family and a few friends, toasting with craft beer instead of champagne. Family values, the heartbeat of the Midwest, grounded us. In 2022, we welcomed our daughter, Lily, her tiny hands wrapping around my finger, as I realized happiness wasn't just found, it was made. My new beginning wasn't just about love. I'd built a life, $500,000 in savings, a business employing 5, a blog inspiring thousands. Alex? Word was he'd moved to a cramped studio in Logan Square, single after Sarah dumped him when the money ran dry. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. My revenge was living well, a story Americans eat up like apple pie. As I pushed Lily's stroller through Lincoln Park, Mark by my side, I knew I crafted my second act, not with vengeance, but with the quiet power of a woman who'd risen, stronger and free. The _comeback_queen.md content type equals text/markdown. The Chicago skyline sparkled outside my new apartment in the Loop, a 1,200 square foot haven with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. It was November 2019, and I, Emily Thompson, was 34, freshly divorced from Alex Carter, the man whose betrayal had fueled my silent revenge. The Cook County Courthouse had delivered my justice. 60% of our assets, the Oak Park house, $5. By the spring of 2023, I, Emily Thompson, stood on the balcony of my Loop apartment, watching Chicago's skyline glow under a pastel dawn. At 37, I was a far cry from the broken woman who'd uncovered Alex Carter's betrayal 5 years earlier. The journey from those dark days, sleepless nights, a crumbling marriage, the sting of catching him with Sarah in our Oak Park home, had forged me into someone new. The Cook County Courthouse had delivered my justice in 2019, granted me the house, alimony, and freedom, but the real victory was the life I'd built. For my 30 to 55-year-old audience, who devour stories of revenge and redemption, this wasn't just a comeback. It was an inspirational tale of rising from ashes, American style, with lessons of resilience, self-love, and overcoming adversity that I'd learned the hard way. Looking back, the pain of Alex's affair felt like a distant storm. Those months of betrayal, Hotel receipts, secret texts, the scent of Sarah's perfume had crushed me, but they also taught me to stand taller. I'd sob in my Naperville support group, rebuilt my career with a $250,000 contract, and turned my Midwest Heartbreak Chronicles blog into a 50,000-follower beacon for women like me. Each step, hiring a private investigator, strategizing with my attorney Lisa, walking out of that courtroom, was a brick in my new foundation. America loves a story of triumph over hardship, and mine was proof that you can turn betrayal into a battle cry. The first lesson I learned was about forgiveness, not for Alex, but for myself. I'd spent months blaming myself, wondering if I wasn't pretty enough, smart enough, or exciting enough to keep him faithful. My therapist in Evanston, a kind woman with a knack for tough love, helped me see the truth. His choices weren't my fault. I journaled daily, writing, "I am enough," until I believed it. Self-love, that American pursuit celebrated in Oprah's book club and Instagram quotes, became my anchor. I stopped checking Sarah's social media, stopped replaying Alex's lies. Instead, I poured love into myself. Morning runs along the lakefront trail, home-cooked meals like my mom's pot roast, quiet moments with my daughter Lily, now a giggling 1-year-old. Resilience was my second lesson. Growing up in Ohio, I'd seen my parents weather factory layoffs and long winters with grit. That Midwestern spirit carried me through. When my consultancy faltered, I fought back, landing bigger clients. When Alex begged for a second chance, I stayed silent, letting my success speak. My blog readers, thousands of women across America, sent messages like, "You showed me I can survive my divorce." Their words reminded me that resilience isn't just personal. It's a community, like tailgates at Bears games or church potlucks. I'd found mine in Naperville, where strangers became sisters, cheering my every step. Overcoming adversity, though, was the heart of my story. America is built on underdog tales. Think The Pursuit of Happiness or every Super Bowl comeback. My adversity was Alex's betrayal, but also the fear of starting over. I faced it by buying my apartment, marrying Mark, a steady teacher who loved me without conditions, and raising Lily in a home filled with laughter, not lies. Alex? Last I heard, he was in a Logan Square studio, alone after Sarah left, when his money ran dry. I didn't need to gloat. My life was my revenge. To anyone watching this story, I say this. Your pain doesn't define you. Whether it's a cheating spouse, a lost job, or a broken dream, you have the power to rise. Find your people, your support group, your book club, your gym buddies. Invest in yourself. Learn a skill, chase a passion, build something new. America's promise is that second chances are real, but you have to claim them. As I push Lily's stroller through Lincoln Park, Mark's hand in mine, I'm living proof. My heart, once ash, is now a fire, bright, bold, and unstoppable. So take your hurt, your anger, your fight, and write your comeback. The world's waiting. The Chicago skyline glows as my story. Emily Thompson's odyssey from betrayal to triumph draws to a close. At 37, I stand stronger, a woman forged by the pain of Alex Carter's affair and the victory of my silent revenge. From the ashes of our Oak Park home, I build a life, a thriving consultancy, a blog with 50,000 followers, a family with Mark and our daughter Lily. That proves the American dream of second chances is real. For you, my 30 to 55-year-old audience who love stories of revenge and redemption, this journey through heartbreak, justice, and rebirth is a call to reflect. What have you learned from my story so far? Maybe it's the power of resilience, the courage to rebuild, or the strength and self-love. I want to hear from you. Comment below with one lesson you've taken from my path and how you apply it to your own life. Your story matters, and together, we can inspire each other to rise above adversity. If you liked this video, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more tales of grit and glory. As I walk through Lincoln Park, Lily's giggles echoing, I'm living proof that from betrayal's ruins, you can craft a life that shines. Keep fighting, keep thriving, and I'll see you in the next video.